life to illuminate and navigate a journey of emotional resilience. I'm your host, Brandon. This is our last topic discussion of the month. It's been a really good month. We've had some really great guests, some really good segments, and I thought a common theme this month was kind of, about healing. We talked, a little bit about healing through grief, healing through relationships, healing through addiction, and just a lot of that different process behind it. So I thought it would be a good idea to end the month with just some tips for healing. And so we're going to talk about 5 tips we can use in that healing process as we kind of go through it and build through it. Before we jump into it, though, like I said, there's been some really great segments this month with our monthly series on grief with Lou. If you haven't seen those episodes, I definitely recommend going to check them out, especially if you're experiencing some type of loss. It's just a really good conversation between Lou and myself about different ways we can look at it, different ways we can deal with that. And coming up for our last episode, we're going to talk about kind of that next step in that process. So definitely come back on Friday. We just did a great journey segment on Monday with Allison. Talked about that healing process and how it's just a constant journey. We're always on that. We're always looking to get better, because when we stop that healing process, when we don't continue in our growth in life, we can get content. And that can cause us to fall backwards. That can cause us to go into some old habits, old behaviors, old thought patterns. So it's really important to continue that healing process just until we're gone. It's just a really good thing to keep up on and keep growing in. Some of our previous journey segments from this month have been really good with Chef Dev. That was a great conversation surrounding addiction. Lou obviously did start off June with her journey segment about grief and just the loss she's experienced and how that's kind of led her to what she's doing today. And as well as Jules, on her way to becoming a big time singer, getting to hear her kind of mental health journey and what she's been through and how different things have affected her in her life. So I definitely recommend going and checking those out. Like, subscribe, comment, do all those things to join the community, participate in the community. And we're excited to continue our growth and our moving forward process. It's been a lot of fun, and it's just been an enjoyment to see some of the different comments, some of the different people jumping in with their thoughts. It's been a really awesome process so far. And so, jumping into those 5 tips for healing processes is so important. Starting off with probably the biggest one, and that's accepting that there's something to heal from. And that can be really hard. It can be really uncomfortable to look at, something that's caused you pain, something that's caused you trauma, something that's caused some maybe negative thoughts or behaviors in your life. To look at that and accept that it's causing you that. That's that first step in that healing process of being able to cope with that and get through those moments. And I know for me, especially with addiction, it took a long time for me to accept that drugs were the problem. I kept thinking that it was the people around me. I kept thinking it was the relationships I was in. I kept thinking it was the circumstances that I had. I was trying to blame everything but the actual problem, the addiction, the drug use, the substance use. And it didn't start right away when I accepted that I had that problem, but that was an indicator that I wanted to do something about it. Because when you can accept that there's a problem, you can accept that you also have to do something to solve that problem, right? It's always part of that process is solving that problem or finding a way, creative way sometimes, finding ways to deal with those problems. So accepting something for what it is, for what happened. It's not saying it's okay that it happened. It's not saying that, it's, any type of positive that it's happened, but it's accepting that it happened and saying, hey, this happened in my life. I gotta find a better way to cope with it, because it's just destroying other aspects of my life. And once you accept it, once you recognize that there's a problem there and you want to start healing from whatever it is that you had to accept, I think the biggest next step is creating a support system. Having those people around you as you heal from something is vital to success. Is so important to being able to get through those tough moments, especially early on. I know in my recovery, having the support system that I did, my parents, my siblings, a couple of friends that stuck around through it all, and even my soon to be or my future wife was in the picture, then supporting me through that process, and that was a huge part of me being able to be successful. I don't think I could have gotten through those, especially those early days, um, trying to do it all myself, and being able to rely on those people, talk to those people, understand and be honest with those people about, what I was facing, how I was feeling, and what I was going through really gave me a positive way to cope with those things, really gave me some positive influences in my life and created some positive relationships with those people that I didn't always have an addiction. It was always, you know, I was usually causing harm to those people in some way, shape, or form. And so to be able to build that positive relationship, but also have those people there for me when I was struggling or when I needed to talk to somebody was really something that got me through that. And if you don't have those things, if you don't have your parents around, you don't have your siblings around, you don't have you don't have friends around that can help you through those moments, and joining communities is another great way to build that support system. I met a lot of good connections, going to NA meetings, and a lot of good people that helped me through those early moments, that gave me some inspiration. And so doing things like that, joining, either communities around you or online communities, but finding people that are not going to judge you, finding people that are going to, at least lend an ear. Maybe they don't fully understand what you're going through, or they don't fully, know what to say, but they can sit there and listen. They can give you a hug. They can put their arm around you. They can be there for you in those tough moments, that happen the early healing process. So that can even come along years down the line when there's moments or anniversaries or different things like that that may pop up in our head and create a little bit of a struggle. So building those support systems, man, I couldn't encourage that more. Having somebody to stand next to you, having somebody to hold you up, having somebody to lead you a little bit is so crucial in getting through uh, those early moments and continuing your healing process. And once you accept that problem, you got your support system in place, you want to start setting some goals. And you know when I got clean, it wasn't I'm going to be clean for the rest of my life because that wasn't a realistic goal for me at that point. That was so far out of the picture. I couldn't have even imagined it. I was upset seeing somebody get a 2-year key tag because I thought there was no fucking way I was going to be able to get 2 years under my belt. Um, and so setting some realistic goals, and for me early on, sometimes it was just 5 minutes, it was an hour, it was a day, but it was something really small that I know I could get through, and something that I could just kind of check off, like, oh, I made it through another day. I was able to get through another tough moment. And then as you continue that healing process, depending on what you're healing from, then you can add in some other things. For me, coming from addiction, it was about building some relationships again. It was about getting a job. It was about, kind of restarting my life over because I was 25, living in my parents' basement. I had nothing to show for the first 25 years of my life. And so I had to figure out some steps to put me in place to start moving forward. It wasn't just all of a sudden I was going to be, on my own, having a career, financially set. That just wasn't realistic for me early on. So I had to set some small steps to get me to those places, get me to the places where I could be successful. And setting realistic goals is really important in that, because if you set things too high, if you set that bar, too high in a moment, especially if you're somebody who sets that bar really high and you struggle to meet it, and then when you struggle to meet it, you just beat yourself up and fall back. If you're somebody who can set a really high goal and push it to make it happen and be okay if you fall short, then that's probably a good way to go about it. But setting goals that are going to work for you is something that's going to always keep you moving through that healing process, because once you hit one goal, you're setting another one, you're setting that next step, you're putting forward, you're putting in motion the next moves in your life, as long as you continue setting those goals, as long as you continue saying, this is what I'm going to hit next, or this is what I'm going to hit next, or this is where I want to be. If you keep doing that, you're going to keep moving forward. It's just natural when you have that idea in your mind, when you have that that goal in mind of where you want to go, and you're constantly striving and pushing for it, you're going to keep moving forward. And once you hit that goal, you're setting that next one so that way it doesn't stop. That process doesn't stop, and you don't get stagnant, and you don't kind of just settle. You want more and more and more. And when you want more and when you want to keep going, you're going to be able to get to where you want to be. And as you go through that, right, as you're going through, your healing process in life, I think a big part of that is always going to be your self-care tools, whether that's journaling, whether that's exercising, whether that's, going to sit outside by yourself for an hour, going to therapy, different things like that. Those things that are important for you, taking a day off every once in a while and doing what you need to do. That is, crucial to keeping yourself sane, happy, and just in a good frame of mind. You have to take care of yourself, and I know some people may look at that as a selfish statement, and I understand. I can see where people can come from when they say that's a selfish statement, but I also look at the other side of that coin. If I'm not taking care of myself, if I'm not in a good, positive state of mind, how good am I going to be for other people? How good am I going to be for my kids? How good am I going to be for my wife? How good am I going to be for my friends? How good am I going to be at my job? If I'm not keeping myself in a good frame of mind, I'm going to fall in all those things. And that's happened before. I stopped taking care of myself at different points in recovery, and I became miserable. I was a little more short tempered, or I just wasn't interactive. I wasn't doing the things I needed to do, or taking care of my responsibilities in any of those places. And so when you don't take care of yourself, when you don't keep yourself in a good state of mind and doing some of those things you have to do, it's going to be really hard to be there for other people. It's going to be really hard to be there present in your relationships, whether that's with friends, family, children, your job, your coworkers, all those things. And so set up those things that are going to keep you happy, that are going to keep you moving forward, and keeping you in a positive state of mind. And I think that's really huge in the healing process as you go through life, because once we get in that negative mind frame and then something triggers us, it's a lot harder to get out of. I've been in those places where it, in a positive state of mind, something triggers me. Sometimes it can take minutes, hours, maybe a day or two, but I don't get stuck. When I'm in a negative frame of mind and I'm down on myself and I haven't been doing the things to take care of myself, and something triggers, an old memory or an old feeling that's negative, it's a lot longer to get out of. I become more miserable. I a little more hopeless, and I get stuck in that cycle of thoughts that drove me to use for so long, and I can be in that for weeks. There was a point in my recovery where I spent a couple months in that, and I really hurt other aspects of my life because I stopped taking care of myself. I stopped those self-care routines. So that is so crucial as you continue in that process. And you have to be selfish sometimes in those moments. I'm not saying be selfish in a way that's going to hurt other people. I'm not saying be selfish in a way that's going to let other people down, but be selfish in a way so that way you can be there for other people. That way you can be present. That way you can bring a positive frame of mind when you're with those other people. And so keeping up on those are really good ways to do that. And then, lastly is probably one of my favorite ones, and that's to keep an open mind for growth. I don't think it's good to ever sit there and say, I'm perfect. I'm in a good place. Nothing's ever going to bother me again. I'm done with this journey. I don't think there's a point of doing that, because I think there's always room for growth. It really doesn't matter what you're doing in your healing process, in your job, and I coach soccer, so am I coaching, your relationships. If you're always open to growing that, you're always going to add more to it. You're going to find out more about the people you're in relationships with. You're going to take in more knowledge from people that have been there longer, or maybe somebody who hasn't been there as long, but they have a different experience with that. And the same thing applies in a healing journey. If you're always open to saying, like, I can add this new tool to my belt, or I can cope with this in a whole new way that I haven't experienced yet, because I'm always looking for positive things to add into my life. And that's what being open-minded for growth and opportunity does in a healing process. Not just shutting it off and saying, I'm good, I'm over it, I'm healed, right? At least to me, that's a that's a bad state of mind for me to be in. If I'm thinking I'm healed from all the shit I've been through, I'm in trouble. When I'm thinking I can continue to grow and I can keep moving forward and open new doors, find new opportunities, and find different ways to make myself happy, which in turn makes other people around me happy, I'm in a really good spot. If you start doing all five of those, if you accept that problem, you accept what you need to heal from. If you set up that support system, get those people around you that are going to have your back and not judge you through that. If you put those realistic goals in place for you to be successful, if you take care of yourself and do those little things that are going to keep you in a good frame of mind, and if you always continue that, if you keep that open mind, you're going to set yourself up for success in your healing journey. It's still going to be tough. It's still going to be uncomfortable at times. Healing from trauma, from pain, from anger, from past experience isn't a one-day thing, and it isn't something that's ever going to fully probably be healed. But it's something that you can always be growing from, always be learning from, always be proven to yourself that you're more resilient than you think. And when you do those five things, and I'm sure there's a lot more you could add to it. So if there are, throw them in the comments so other people can see them and try them in their life. But if you do those five things and you do them honestly and you do them with a good work ethic or a good mentality, a positive mentality, you're going to be able to start your healing process and you're going to be able to continue it. And you're going to be able to see the growth, see the happiness come back into your life. And so, try some of those things out, especially if you're struggling, try them out. I'm not saying that, I'm never saying that this is the right way to do anything or this is the only way to do anything, because I think, our experiences are unique to us, just like our healing processes are unique to us, our journeys are unique to us. But we can always lean on each other. We can always help each other out. We can always give each other new tips and be there for one another as we continue in all of those processes. So try them out. Let me know what you think. Again, like, subscribe, keep joining the community. Let's keep growing. And just keep pushing for more positivity. Keep pushing for more happiness, more success in our lives. And keep pushing that for other people. Because I think when we can bring that to other people and we can truly be happy when other people are hit those milestones in their life, and not be jealous, not be angry, not be in that mindset of why not me. I think we get there as well. I think it's just, it's a common thing when you're in a group of people that are moving forward. And when you stay with that group, when you move with that group, you're moving forward as well. So again, I appreciate it. It's been a great month. I'm looking forward to the things coming up next month. We're going to have some more great journey segments, get some more topic discussions, and start a whole new series. So I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining me today. It's been Illuminate, Navigate, Radiate. Have a great rest of your day.